Welcome to Code 0292, a youth show that focuses on young people's issues. My name is Lungile. Today on the show, we'll talk to Ryan Katayi, the Deputy Organizing Secretary for Zimbabwe Youth Arise. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you, Lungile. Welcome, viewers.
And how are you doing today?
Oh, it's been quite a day.
It's been quite a day.
Yes.
All right, Ryan. Let's just dive into the interview.
Sure.
Tell me about Zimbabwe Youth Arise. I'm sure everyone would want to know what it's all about.
Okay, thank you very much. Zimbabwe Youth Arise is a youth organization that was incepted 2 years ago. This organization focuses on providing a platform for youths to be able to fully express themselves. I won't put it as express only. I'll put it as a full expression of themselves via providing themselves with platform that dove into dialogue, nation building, and even general participation in good governance and youth-related issues in our country. So our organization serves that to provide now that platform and even drive to their impact.
Okay. And what kind of dialogues do you have?
Well, our dialogues differ, probably stemming from the three main structures that you have in each and every society. There's a political, economical, and even social.
All right. So from what I read some of your stuff, and you say that Zimbabwe Youth Arise is aimed at advocating for nation building dialogues among youths across the political divide. So maybe you can explain a bit more about that in terms of nation building. How do young people fit into that?
Okay, I think it's not a secret that our country, that is a general population of just over 13 million people, is consisted of 60% of that population being youths. Now, taking that dynamic, we are driven now to try and study and understand this general populace. Now, them being 60% of them being youths, we are saying we need to secure our future. In order for us to do that, we need to tap into that small segment of our society that's going to be the future of tomorrow. And how are we going to do that? It's simple. We're going to analyze how exactly we can move towards such a society whereby we're looking towards that general build of our nation. Now, we have noted that of late, I think it's not a secret, that our country has been divided along the political divide. Some say they belong to Party A, some Party B, and some Party C. Now, it has also happened to youths, whereby they have joined unions. These unions, some of them subscribe to those individual political parties that are national. Thereby, we're saying we have a difference in our political stamina. Now, it's going to extend also now to the politics, to the economics and the social part of the youths. Now, we're saying we cannot build the nation if you can't bring all these people from Party A, Party B, and Party C together. So the first part of it now would be to bring people from Party A, youths from Party B, youths from Party C, bring them together. We have a dialogue. If you can be able to do that, then you can build something substantial economically and even socially.
Ryan, hold that thought for a moment. We'll take a short break and we'll be back with Ryan Katayi from Zimbabwe Youth Arise.
Have to acknowledge is that we should have a common goal or purpose, and that is living and making sure that the next generation comes and enjoys the Zimbabwean dream that we have built today.
The cyberspace is home to billions of people and is the right platform you need to grow your business. The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711-0290 or 0718-100-235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website www.side.org.zw. You can also visit our offices at 45 Moffat Avenue, Hillside, Blawe. Take advantage of this opportunity to expand your business.
Welcome back to Code 0292. I'm still with Ryan Katayi, the Deputy Organizing Secretary for Zimbabwe Youth Arise. We are discussing nation building and young people. So Ryan, from what you're saying, I'm sure that most of the people that you target, the young people that you target are youth. They are in university, right? They are youth. They are on tertiary education and everything. So those people, like you mentioned, they have joined different unions. They've joined different parties at their own universities. But then, how do you manage to make sure that when they come together, they are singing the same song about empowering each other as young people and speaking the same language in terms of the dialogue that they want to draw across, that they want it to come across as?
Well, Lungi, I think you may actually be surprised. We have had 3 interfaces whereby we had such a scenario whereby we drove people from different political backgrounds and got them in one room. You'll be surprised as to how they can relate, because one thing for sure is everyone is having the same problems, facing the same problems that we're having here in Zimbabwe. Everyone wants Zimbabwe to be better. Everyone is fighting towards the Zimbabwean dream. So I think you may actually be surprised to know that what may divide us might actually be smaller than what might even want to unite us. Thereby, that's where the need for dialogue arises. We need these people in the same room. We have done that before. And then we have seen that it has worked because we have dialogued peacefully. No one has chanted any bad language, nothing violent, no violence, anything. It was all peaceful, all productive, all constructive. The points that were coming from the people were actually amazing. And the whole political thing was removed for that moment. So we're saying we may not be able to accept that, well, we are the same because we're different. We come from different political backgrounds. But then one thing we just have to acknowledge is that we should have a common goal or purpose. And that is living and making sure that the next generation comes and enjoys the Zimbabwean dream that we have built today.
Okay. And from what you're saying, what is the Zimbabwean dream for a young person? What is the Zimbabwean dream for someone who is, let's just forget about some focusing on university students. What is the dream for an ordinary Zimbabwean youth, whether they are at school or they're not at school?
Well, it's an illustration that I always give. As soon as someone wakes up, right, waking up takes energy. The moment that you open your eyes in the morning, the dream stops, right? You wake up into another dream, and that's the dream of reality. Now, what we fight or strive towards is to live to see the next day. And how are we doing that? By fulfilling the day we're currently living. Now, we look at what people are doing in that current day. There is that gogo who is selling amaqimbi at some shop. There is that guy of mine who is singing. Then probably Shabalala. There is me, Ryan, right? I'm going to school. I'm striving towards something. So all that combined, we are having a people who are fighting towards proving themselves better. Now, taking that into Zimbabwean context, everyone wants to make Zimbabwe better. Everyone wants to make it cheaper. Everyone wants to make it livable. At the current moment, our dream is just to see that I give birth to my son in the next probably 20 years or 15, right? And then I can save up a college fund for my son. Not to say I leave it as it goes. The Zimbabwean dream right now is to survive and thrive. People want to build a legacy, and that's going to be possible. But then that's the dream we're holding on to at the moment.
All right. And what kind of achievements have you made as Zimbabwe Youth Arise in making sure that young people come together and strive for one purpose and actually achieve that goal?
That's an important question. As Zimbabwe Youth Arise, then when we started, we noted this issue of inclusion. Like, we didn't have women in powerful positions in youth organizations, even in the political arena. One. Two, even in economics, we didn't have so many women coming up with so many innovative ideas who are in positions and so forth. So our first strike of core was to say, in each and everything we do as Zimbabwe Youth Arise, we're going to have an inclusion of women, not to forcefully put them into positions, no, but then put women who are willing enough to work towards the vision and goals of Zimbabwe Youth Arise. And we've seen this happening. And to be honest with you right now, our vice chairperson is actually a woman. And the way she works, how she does things is actually inspirational. And I think probably next time I'll be talking, she'll be the chairperson of the organization. Number one. Number two, we've also had inclusion of the disabled in society. Like you've noticed that in many formations, political arena and so forth, we don't have so many disabled people. Not because there are none who are capable, but then they're slowly being disintegrated out of this system. So we're saying now, what we need is the mind, not to look at the person and just judge before you even ask. So that's why we introduce the issue of debates. Either we do them on radio stations, either we do them on such platforms, or even we do them physically by having the whole Pauper debates and such. Then we noted that those people who were segregated out of society are actually proving much more better than some of the people who are able-bodied and everything. So I think our part of inclusion of the minor groups in society, one. Two, bringing people from different political backgrounds into one room and them pondering upon ideas, bringing resolutions, not just looking at problems, but bringing resolutions, and us even making submissions of what we think is the best way out of this enigma that has been created in Zimbabwe through our submissions to various government platforms. So I think generally, so far, that's what you've done.
All right. I like that you are including the minority groups in society. You're bringing in people who are living with disabilities, and you're also bringing young women. But then what kind of impact does that have? Like you mentioned, you say that the deputy chair is a woman, and you are sure that in the next round maybe she could be the chairperson. But then what impact does that have on a young person like me, who is a young lady? What do you think it has on, for young
women? Well, the truth is, when everyone is growing up, Lungi, they have something they aspire to be. But then you can't aspire if you don't see it. So we see someone or something, then we aspire. That's what happens. So if I saw someone, probably when I was growing, right? I saw someone who was an engineer, who looked probably rich, I don't know, nice, I don't know. Then I said in my life, I'm going to be an engineer. Yeah. So imagine a scenario whereby a small girl, 5 years of age, sees our vice chairperson, a lady, standing up and telling them that they're capable. Imagine such a scenario, a strong woman telling another woman that she can. Not a guy coming up and telling a lady that she can, but another lady coming up and telling another lady that she can. You know, in an organization, we also have a lady. She's studying a doctorate right now, right? She's so young. I think she's below 27, 26 of age, right? She's studying towards a doctorate. You know, when she shared the story, I was so inspired. And the next thing I told her was, share this with another girl child. Wait and see. We're going to have a revolution of ladies. We're going to see that it's possible to get a doctorate, even if you're married or if you're not. You see, so these are the kind of phenomenal people we're having, and even the disabled. Now, if another person who is disabled is to see another person disabled doing something that they thought they couldn't. Now, imagine hearing a DJ who is disabled, and you're going to inspire. You see.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to drive towards. But at the moment, the resistance is there, but then it's coming up slowly, and I believe soon enough, the revolution is going to be everywhere, and people are going to be joining in by the numbers.
That is such a mouthful. I think we need to take a short break and digest what Ryan just told us. We'll be right back.
The greatest problem that we have with our youth today is misinformation, right? We're having our youths not being properly informed about issues happening that affect them directly.
Uchala yuko kwenye nkala ngako kakhulu, it's too expensive. You can't buy it dump at $3.50.
Abadala sesiyahlala ezindlini asahambi. Imali yakhona siyayibona ngaphi singasebenzi.
So ama $16 ngareso ama $40.
What is happening? We don't understand.
Oil ati $35. Atezi $79.
Welcome to Community Conversations with me, Lungile. Thank you so much.
Basically, what you are saying is because at least he was better. He could control the prices.
If you're just joining us, this is Code 0292 and I'm with Ryan Katayi, the Deputy Organizing Secretary for Zimbabwe Youth Arise. So Ryan, last year we had our elections and there were more young people who were engaging in elections. There were more young people who went out there to register to vote. What kind of, how did you as Zimbabwe Youth Arise challenge young people to also take a stand in registering to vote? How was your participation with that?
Well, last year we were still establishing, I won't lie. But then we made our efforts to try and encourage other youth to register and mostly to vote, not just to register. Because I believe that most of the people registered, but then some didn't even bother to go and vote. So as an organization, we made our steps towards encouraging our youth, starting with those in our organization and then extending to those outside our organization, encouraging them to vote. But mostly we were watching to see how many youths were participating in the actual election. That was our modus operandi for that year. We wanted to see exactly how many youths were willing to take up positions of leadership in our country. Disappointingly, there were few. So this is something that we noted, and it's something that we're currently pushing. That's why you see we're trying to groom leaders. We're trying to bring about all these people from different political backgrounds, different political parties, provide them a platform. So with that in mind, that if they come from that, they would have the confidence next time to even take part in the actual election to get voted for. And if they get that exposure, then we have more youths in cabinet, we have more youths in parliament, more people speaking on youth issues, then more change on youth-related issues.
All right. So I think that is quite a good initiative. And I'm seeing Zimbabwe Youth Arise as a platform, or if I can say a school, that is grooming young people into becoming great leaders. We need young people in leadership positions that can make decisions for other young people, that can stand on our behalf and say what we need, because this anthem of older people deciding for us it's long gone. It has to change. So young people now need to take a stand and be the ones who are at the forefront in the decision-making processes for us, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, fine. So and let's talk about the impact that you have in the universities. Which universities have you worked with and partnered with in trying to push Zimbabwe Youth Arise?
Well, we have partnered with a number of universities. Last year, we had a debate here in Bulawayo. It was the first of its kind. We invited student union leaders and their members from universities such as LSU, Lupane, NAST, UCE, Hillside Teachers College, Bulawayo Poly, and some other technical colleges. Then from this event, we managed to get a clearer picture of how youths would want to express themselves. So from this on, that's when you move to the point whereby we say, no, we can't just restrict ourselves to the small audiences. Let's provide them with a much bigger and vibrant audience, such that they can fully express their ideas. So that's when we brought them now to, we introduced the radio debates. So that's when we began with Star FM. There we engaged UZ, some from MSU, some from NAST, some from other technical colleges. Then from this point now we managed to see that the interest in the youths in dialoguing was increasing, because even the even the audience on our shows was actually quite higher than we expected. So I believe the platform we afforded them was more than enough at the time for the point that we're trying to drive through. And then our fight now is to ensure that every platform that has to do with decision making for Zimbabwe engages the youths. Every platform that is to do with anything about the future or anything that can impact the youth negatively or positively, let's have the youth. So that's what we're driving it now. And fortunately, we've been invited to a number of conferences and events where we've also managed to afford those youths a platform for them to participate and fully express themselves.
All right. And there's no way we can divide decision-making processes with politics. I don't think that
currently,
there's no way that we can divide that. And how do you manage to persuade young people to talk about politics in your debates?
Well, let's be honest, politics has become us. We can't run away from that fact. Fine, politics is always there in every society, but then there's been some toxic politics lately in Zimbabwe. So people are so afraid to speak out right now, especially on issues, because of that toxicity that exists. But then with proper persuasion and outlining the importance of them speaking out, you find people freely expressing themselves, you know, but that resistance is still there, and there's that general fear of the known. Like, if I speak on party A, what are they going to do to me? If I speak on party B, what are they going to do to me? But then that's where the point comes about. Every revolution needs people who can stand up and speak out, regardless of which political party you belong to. Whatever is wrong, speak out about it, not to sit down, cower, because the next time that's going to happen is going to affect your grandchildren, your children, or even your children's children, like what's happening in these present scenarios.
Mm-hmm. All right. And let's talk about young people partaking in democratic processes. We talked about decision making. How can you persuade young people to take part in democratic processes and making sure that they actually are at the forefront of that?
Well, it's not just our persuasion that's needed. That's one thing to note, because let's take, for instance, currently we're having devolution conferences that are happening across the country. In Bulawayo, it was done January. Masvingo, they should be doing them tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. Then Gwanda, that's much south, they're doing the devolution conferences in a fortnight. So you'd find that our participation in those conferences are important, because devolution now is the future of where all the countries, even Kenya, is moving towards devolution, Rwanda, and so forth. Those are important, especially in our society today, right? But then we need youths to participate in those. But then for them to participate, there has to be space to include them. That's why we were also thinking of even pushing it further by petitioning Parliament to provide a quota for youths, whether they're females or they're males, like what they did for the women's quota. We need a quota for youths who are going to jump in there, energetic about youth issues, speak out about them, because you cannot have inclusivity of the youth. We can persuade them, yes, and then they say they're interested, but then we can't have them participating if there is no space for them to participate in. And currently that's the case. There is no way to fit in. There's no way youths can fully participate.
I was going to ask you, like the conferences that you're talking about, how many youths actually go to those conferences, or how many youths actually know about those conferences besides a few individuals that that will be told or that will be privileged to know and participate in those conferences?
Unfortunately, not many youths know about these conferences. And another unfortunate case is some of these conferences are actually advertised on ZBC and other, you know, media outlets. Even Facebook, they'll be there and so forth. But then, as youths, we've been so conditioned to think that some of these things are not for us, you know. But then all you have to do is to punch on that contact number that will be under the flyer or even the advert or what comes after as the contact detail. All you need to do is to contact that person, ask them. If they tell you that you're not included, then it's fine. But then in most cases, you actually find that they'll be keen to accommodate. That's number one. Number two, the greatest problem that we have with our youth today is misinformation, right? We're having our youths not being properly informed about issues happening that affect them directly. One. Two, we're having also our youths not being properly informed. Like, we have so many people talking three things about the same thing. Not because they don't know about the thing, but then they've received information, various kinds of information, disturbing some even, right? So those challenges now in communication are actually probably the greatest contributor of why youths are not participating in these conferences. And the last part is these conferences now are not creating enough space for youths to come. Because I believe if we open it up for youths, you'd find probably 1,000 people interested. Let's say we open it at NAS, you'd find probably 700 people interested of going to a conference. Who doesn't want to go to some hotel and listen to probably His Excellency, the President addressing? Everybody. But then we're not having people properly opened up the space for them to participate, and that becomes a problem.
Yeah. So these conferences need to come to the young people.
Yes.
They need young people need to be told about them, and they also need to be also need to be accessible to young people, because you can't say that there's a conference and I am here in Bulawayo and the conference is in Harare. Maybe I do not have the money to go there. But then why not make sure that there's something for me here in Bulawayo for me to actually attend to and take part in a way. All right. So do you have any other last words that you'd like to share